to pieces, like puzzle pieces, puzzle pieces.
What's going on, guys? And welcome to my underground bunker, my garage, in this very, very, very confusing and scary time. I want to bring you guys some smiles and also some cheerleading related chat. So I have started the podcast. I don't have a name, so if you guys want to DM me or comment below the name you think we could call this podcast, but this is the podcast with no name. Now, my first guest, yes guys, my first one, and I've got a guest. My first guest, we're going to have on the man, the myth, the legend, Rob Horton, formerly known to the cheerleading community as Bear Drylls. I need to get a horn soundboard for this podcast. Formerly known as Bear Drylls, he is the tumble master. He has taught at Spring Conference. He has taught at Future Cheer Flight School, and he has his own traveling clinics. He is also one of the coaches at Ascension Eagles Cheer in London, who is actually coached by legend Angela Green. So yeah, let's get the first podcast with no name, and let's get our first guest on, guys. Welcome to the first ever podcast, Mr.
Wicked.
Bear Drylls.
Thank you for having me.
I will have done you I'm going to do like a big intro, and I'm going to talk about you.
Don't do that.
Going to big you up and then be like, boom, welcome.
This would be me, like, epically disappointing.
Ready? Oh, you can't see it.
Epically disappointing. Not there.
Well, man.
That looks good, though.
Going to have to use a different pen.
So what are you calling your podcast?
I don't know. Coffee with Sam.
Coffee with Sam?
The Coffee Club. I don't know yet.
The Coffee Club.
I don't know yet, to be honest.
Too early.
It's just, I feel like I'm stuck in my bunker here in self-isolation.
Are you in isolation as well? You got a cold?
Well, no, but with the missus working for the NHS and that, we feel like we have to stop.
Yeah, I understand.
Communicating.
Kelly's a key worker as well. She's still working in schools, so I know it's not the same level, but it is.
Well, yeah, my mum's still working for all the NHS kids. She's still working, so
that's what I mean. Kelly's looking after the key workers' kids effectively. So yeah,
tough times.
It's rough and it's crazy.
So what have you been doing for your business as well as to be able to keep going?
AEC's pretty much closed up shop in terms of in-gym exercises, but we are trying to set up like a home schedule that athletes can follow, but we're also trying to do we're also looking at how Zoom works for us and whether we can do live classes. But we did a lot of pre-recorded things that we're going to upload. We're going to pilot it this week, Tuesday to Thursday, Friday. Yeah. See how that works, and then we're going to have like a combination of pre-recorded stuff go up during the week, and then when teams would have trained in the evening, we're going to try and set up classrooms or Zoom meetings for them to do live, live interaction with each other and whatever. But it's about trying to set that up at the moment and how that would work and how it would look, because by the looks of it, everyone needs to have a Zoom account. So that would be
yeah, but you can. So for anyone else who's going to end up watching or listening to this, you can, once the invitation I just sent you, you can send one that's like that. You click it, and then it takes you through the process of downloading Zoom.
Oh, okay. So it'd be just a case of just following the.
You'd send a blast email out to all the athletes. They'd get an email with a link. They click the link, they follow it, and then it says, download this, do that, do the other, set your account up. Cool, now you're ready.
I think it's really good because I think a lot of from what I could see, a lot of programs are exploring something similar.
Oh yeah, it's all over the UK cheer coaches group. How can I do classes? How can I do classes? How can I do classes?
I think it's because it's so unprecedented. It's about trying to make sure that everyone can sustain themselves, because you don't know where the other side is. So
Yeah.
it's like really, in terms of the tumble clinics, I think everything is cancelled at the moment, which is just like crazy.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
You said you were down to
Nothing.
Nothing
Down
now.
to this. I'm down to sitting in my garage, inviting people to come and talk to me, and hope that it works.
I love it. It's
Well, I
nice.
say this is the plan. Where the podcast wants to go is I want to get loads of different people on, bring some laughs to people, as well as slightly educate, but also tell people off
For what?
for stay in your house. Stay in your houses.
I've already seriously considered doing a runner. I've been homeschooling this morning.
You used to be a teacher there, right?
Yeah, I did. Secondary school kids, not a 6-year-old. Nearly went to the dark side, mate. Homeschooling a 6-year-old. That'll teach you a lot about yourself and who you are.
What age is secondary? That's like
11 up.
Yeah. Nah.
11, I can deal with older. I in terms of if I'm trying to teach an older kid, when I was an English teacher, that's where I was comfortable. So when it's kind of that stage, you really admire them. I admire those teachers.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's why a lot of people are struggling with the whole to stay in because of kids. As in, I feel like that's a lot of people's, well, I can't. How can the kids stay in? How can I keep the kids in? And I think that's what a lot of people are struggling to do as they're told.
I've seen some really good, I don't know, things that kids can do out there. So I don't know if you've seen the Lego challenge. That's pretty cool. So like each day a kid has a challenge and they have to like create something.
Where do people find that?
I got sent it, but I'm assuming you could probably just go on it's official Lego thing, so you could probably find it on the Lego website. But today the goal was to create your own fairground ride.
Let's get into some questions then.
Okay.
Yeah, related.
20 years.
How did Roberto get into cheerleading?
Well, I wasn't the first member from my family to get into cheerleading, actually. So my sister was cheerleading for the Attention Eagles. And at that time, I was in year 10, 11 and at secondary school. So I was playing football on the weekend. So I didn't really have time to kind of try and split what I was doing, because it was sort of going through the GCSEs and I had to prioritize that. But I remember I was adamant I wasn't going to do cheerleading. And I went to an ice hockey game, because the Attention Eagles used to cheer for a ice hockey team called the London Knights.
Yeah.
And they used to put in the corner, so the athletes would sort of like create a beeline for the players to walk through and like cheer them onto the floor. And so we all sat in this corner. And I remember I watched a guy, his name was Darren. He did a toss to hands extension. So this must have been like, I don't know, 2003. And I was just like, what is this witchcraft?
I want a bit of that. I want to do some of that.
Wow. I was so impressed. I can honestly, if you like, everyone has pivotal moments. I could not believe how impressed and how much it impressed on me that this guy did a toss to hands extension. It was literally a toss to hands push up extension. And now you've seen what people are doing, rewinds and whatever. But when I saw that, I was like, I want to do cheerleading. I need to learn how to do that. So I think initially, actually, it was the thought of being able to stunt and do something that I'd never seen before. I'd never watched gymnastics. I'd never watched acro. So I'd never seen it in that perspective either. So I saw Darren do a toss hands extension and I was just like, I need to get involved. So I sort of said as a joke on the way out to Shara, who was the director of the program at the time, I want to do cheerleading. And she's very persuasive. But I ended up taking part in the Lord Mayor's show on New Year's Day, I think it was, giving out leaflets and stuff. And I went to my first practice on the Friday following, and learned how to do an prep, and I was well impressed. With three other people in the floor. Might even have had a front spot, I'm not sure. And we did a prep, but I was always in my head, I was like, I need to learn how to do a toss hands extension. That was like a benchmark for me. So yeah, it was probably.
It was like the strength and that the dudes were showing. You were like, I want to be able to do that.
But it wasn't even that. It was just the fact that he was so blasé about it. You know, like you see people now just doing toss QP, and it's like it's nothing. But like in 2003, I'm guessing like.
Oh yeah, toss hands was.
A toss hands extension was like big man. So I was just like, I need to learn how to do this. It's crazy. So yeah, he was so like, yeah, I just picked up, I just did this skill. And I thought, I need to learn how to do that, because he doesn't even look like he's broke a sweat. So
Good. So I'm going to jump from a different question now then.
Okay.
So why tumbling? Why is your main passion now ended up as tumbling if the original reason why you got into cheer was stunting?
So I think initially we all come from, or if you were cheerleading 20 years ago, it was all very much kind of like chuck and flick. Just literally pick people up and chuck them over, and then.
Nah, Rob, I was only 9 then, Rob.
All right, mate.
You were in cheer then, right?
We're about 15. So anyway. But no, so in those days when you were 9, it was literally, I just remember, partly I think it was because I was big enough to pick people up and help pick them over and chuck them over and whatever. It wasn't really a thing to learn. You weren't really learning back walkovers in those days.
Yeah.
It was like straight in back handsprings. That was what we were learning. And obviously you just pick people up and chuck them over, and that's kind of, I think, where the initial interest was, because I just think I was one of the people who was big enough to be picking people up, and confident enough not to worry about taking a hit too much. So I think initially it was kind of accidental, because I was just one of the people who was around to be able to do it. But I think then about, how old was I? Probably about 22 or 23. I had about a 3 or 4 year break from cheerleading, and that's because I'd been ill and then I qualified as a teacher. So I wanted to make sure that, in my head I was thinking, that's my career, I need to make sure I commit to it. And I did about 3 or 4 years of that, and then I got the opportunity to come back into cheerleading. And I remember I messaged Angela, and she was like, well, why don't you come and do some coaching at AEC? And I didn't think at that point, because it had been so long, I didn't know if I'd be, capable. So Angela got me in, and I was very lucky to be working with a coach called Laura, and I got to work with her for a year on a Youth 1 team. And because she's so specific about the grips and the way things work, it was a really good way to get back into cheerleading. And I think Angela got the pairing really good, because it meant that I could really tidy up on the basic stuff and make sure that I got that right. But then alongside that, Gareth was looking for someone to go around and do the Big G clinics with him. So
that Gareth Green.
Gareth Green, so Big G.
Yeah, from Big G.
Yeah, and so initially he got me going around, and I was just working with him. I was very fortunate to be able to get into tumbling the way that I have, because as I say, I was doing kind of being reintroduced into cheerleading.
Yeah.
With Laura on the Youth 1 team.
You went straight back into coaching. There was no still doing cheer or competing. You went straight back into this coaching.
Not initially, no. So initially I was coaching with Laura, and then going around with Gareth doing the clinics up and around and everywhere, which is amazing, because alongside him he had an athlete called Aisha, who's was progressing as a coach as well, but she was a Hungarian gymnast. So we had Gareth, who trained with GB, so he was like gymnastic background, and then obviously Aisha, who was a very high level gymnast in herself. But alongside that, I was doing the work. I was learning the tumble. at AEC as well. So I had a really good combination of influences to help sort of progress me in a new way, which was more of a hands-off approach. That's kind of what
cool. Best part about coaching. So now you are coaching and you're full-time coaching. You've actually quit your teaching. Well, you're back teaching again now, home teaching, but you quit your teaching job.
Yeah.
You full-time coach, right?
Yep, full-time for AEC.
Why did you do that? And what's your favorite part about coaching?
So again, I just think it was an opportunity at the time, and I don't think it would have been there again had I not taken it. So I remember having the conversation with Kelly, and I was just kind of like, look, this opportunity's come up. I don't know if it will come up again. I was teaching at the time. I'm an English teacher, and I was kind of getting a little bit disillusioned with it because of the way that teaching was going and the way that teachers were being treated, and the way that I personally felt like pupils were commodities rather than individuals, and I never really got over it. And so when I first met Kelly, she asked me what I'd do if I wasn't a teacher, and I said I'd only really want to do cheerleading. So when the opportunity came up, I kind of felt like I had to take it because it was too good. It was one of those opportunities that you'd never get again.
Yeah.
So, when it was
what's
there,
your favorite part about coaching? Like why are you so passionate and it's your full-time job?
I think it's because, well, firstly, I love working with young people. It was, it's why I went into teaching. It's why I wanted to be a coach, and so working with young people is great. But I also think when you see someone do something that they didn't think they would ever be able to do.
Sorry about it, dude. It's like some girl just screaming.
I can't hear it.
I think the zombies are already coming.
Was he?
I'm ready. I'm going to jump all the fences and end up at the Winchester.
You got red on you. But
Sorry, I cut you short there.
no, that's all right. So I think when you see an athlete do something that they never thought they would be able to do, or they never imagined that they would be able to do, that's a real kind of drive to want to keep doing it. So the first time you see or you've worked with someone, they do a drop down to bridge, or when the time they first time they do that.
Yes, seeing the kids progress and get better and helping them achieve that.
That's the thing that really motivates me, because I'm a big believer in journeys, and I like a journey. I like the thought of going from here to here. And so when you see and you're part of that person's journey, and then they get to their summit or whatever it is, I don't know. There's something really special.
Makes you warm inside.
Yeah, that warm fuzzy feeling.
Yeah, I get it. No, I get it. I've only just started coaching, but I get that's why I went into coaching. Was I want to take a group of athletes and I want to help them, not just in cheer life, but the lessons you learn. A bit like Coach Carter, the lessons you learn in the gym is for life as well. Like if you're late to practice, then you're going to be late for your job. If you're messing around at practice, you're going to mess around at work, or school.
I agree. I think we work really hard at AEC to lay down really good foundations where athletes can kind of, if we have this expectation on ourselves as individuals, but also ourselves as a collective, then it's only going to benefit us all overall. So
awesome. So, seeing as tumble is your niche, if that's the right word, what is your favourite skill? You're only allowed to pick one. You can't be greedy. Your favourite skill to teach?
I picked two.
Okay.
Two.
Yeah, please do it that way.
At the moment, then, one of the things that I'm really enjoying teaching is a good bridge. So I did try to narrow it down. I had the back handspring, I had the standing tuck, and standing forward. But at the moment, I feel like you go through phases of things that you want to really teach well.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm about to go into layouts as well with like the way I want to teach it and really enjoying it. But at the moment, it's the bridge. I think I had an opportunity to talk to a guy called Rommel, who's at World Cup, and Debbie Love when we spoke at a conference in January for spring, and we were just talking about skills that we like to teach. And I was talking about the bridge and how I teach the bridge with toilet rolls and things like that.
Yeah.
And
So if people don't know, Rob is a massive advocate of, hence the joke. So I took the mick out of his, every time he put a video up, he had a stack of different bits on his shelves, and I wasn't calling out how good his video was, just how good his shelves were. So he's now emptied them, and he's now just got a toilet roll. And he uses the toilet roll, he stacks it under his chin. So if you go to his Instagram, he's got a full stack of techniques to how you can use the toilet roll to help with, is it normally like head alignment, shoulder, arm alignment?
Yeah, so it can be used in multiple ways. You can put it in your chin, or you can put your thumbs in it, or even use it, hold it between your knees. But it works in so many different ways. So it's really useful. So I'm a proper advocate for them. But that is kind of how it became. It kind of started with, you know, bridges and things like that.
And the problem with why we've lost out on toilet rolls is because Rob's got so big that now these toilet rolls have got so big, we're now out of toilet rolls in the supermarkets. It's not
because our cheerleading coaches have them. That's what it is.
It's Bear Drylls' fault. I got your name right as well. I normally call you Bear Grylls.
Oh yeah, I'm an adventurer as well, apparently.
Oh, we both look a bit caveman like, mate.
And I've been trying to work on the old, trying to get the flicks at the end.
The old John Crosler off Unity. He's got one of them.
Has he?
Yeah. Good. Sorry, I keep getting you on your on what I've asked you a question about.
That's all right. So yeah, the bridge.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time when people do bridges, it's a bit like the children's drawing, where they're kind of like that, and they draw one end to the other. But that means that the bend is in the hips. But I read an article, or I was sort of directed to an article where basically an athlete was doing loads of bridges like this, and it damaged their lumbar vertebrae to the point where they ended up in a wheelchair. So I really wanted to make an effort in the way that I teach the shoulder flexibility in bridges, so that the head was neutral and it was the shoulders doing the work and not the hips. But because of that, it has a knock-on effect for the way that you teach back handsprings, because it means that these shoulders are more elastic in the way that they ping, which will work for that. The back walkovers are more beautiful and graceful because the athletes aren't pushing their hips forward, they're opening their shoulders. And then even further on down the line towards whips and things like that. So in terms of the bridge, and I have got a whole YouTube page dedicated to it, shapes that will help improve your tumbles. Plugging it.
Plug it.
But,
what's your YouTube called?
The Bear Cave, obviously.
There you go, the Bear Cave on the YouTube.
On the YouTube.
On the line.
Give us 3 rings.
Another reference the kids won't get.
I'm only a few years older than you, so you're there with me. It's fine.
Oh, that's my Sky Sports. Sorry.
What sports?
Yeah. What? Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah. So, but there is a whole video dedicated to it, and basically, if the bridge, which should be more like a right angle rather than a traditional bridge, it means that the shoulders are fully extended, the shoulders are over the hands, the head is neutral, and the body is straight rather than buckled, if you like, a little bit at the hips. A really nice straight shape. So at the moment, that's the skill that I'm kind of trying to dedicate a lot of time to and enjoying teaching.
Awesome. So it's nice for you to say, I'm glad you've said foundations. You haven't just gone double form. Yeah, flipping it up and catching it. Like, whoa, adrenaline. You've gone like, I enjoy teaching the foundations, which make people do the double form and all the exciting skills.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I mean. That's what the YouTube series was about, really. So initially, I wanted to set up the YouTube page because I wanted to look at foundations for tumbling, and then from that have a dedicated page to those foundations, but then progress through the levels into different things. But ultimately, I feel like if we can get shapes right, you can piece the shapes together and create tumbles. So if an athlete well conditions those shapes, the muscle memory and the core is so good, that when it comes to joining an athletic position to a Superman or an arch back to a hollow or an athletic position, you've got the stages of a back handspring. You just got to put them together. So that's kind of my feeling on it, and that's why I'm really keen on the on trying to create that series, and hopefully it'll get more, you know, exposure, and it will grow. It's doing okay at the moment, but I think it's a, you know, anything with something like YouTube, it is a long race, isn't it? It's not something that's going to just
Oh, definitely. I love that. What don't you think, keeping the head tucked in, would you not tell an athlete to look at their hands on a back handspring?
I would encourage them to look with their eyes, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So to the point of when they're moving their hands, it's like their eyes are trying to roll back in their heads.
Yep.
I don't want this to happen, because if they do this, my feeling is that then they lose this because they're arching here.
Yep.
Arching too much. Whereas the angle for a back handspring should be created here by the shoulders. Whereas as soon as we do this, our hips come forward and our knees buckle, and then we're in a poor body position. So if we can keep that head really neutral, and if they have to look at their eyes, then we're still creating quite a strong shape.
You still hear me? Sorry, there was a lot of noise from upstairs, so I put my AirPod in. I can get rid of that. Favorite time to plug. So plug your Instagram's behind me, but plug your website, your whatever accounts you use, man. Go ahead, plug yourself.
Yeah. So the Instagram is, as you can see, at bear_drills. On YouTube, you'll find me at the Bear Cave, but you might also have to put in RH Cheer Clinics to find it, because it's a new project, so it's not necessarily got as many clicks. So you might have to put RH Cheer Clinics and the Bear Cave in the same search to get the page up. You can also check out my Facebook, which is at Coach Bear Drills, and then on my website, actually, I've started to add a resources page where it kind of explains the YouTube videos in a little bit more detail, and you can find that at rhcheerclinics.com. So have a look, give us a message, and if I can help out, I'll be more than happy to.
Gosh, look at that professional plug right there.
Big man.
Good. And going on about the shoulder flexibility and stuff, he has a lot on his Instagram, and so do I. I'm sure you guys know that. I actually done a video which goes quite well with the topic we've just spoke about. So whilst you've got all this time in this apocalypse, get onto Instagram and get flexible. You've heard it right here. No lower back pain, better shapes, gets you to a double.
Always play the long race.
Oh yeah, definitely. Foundations all the way. Thanks. So thanks for coming on, Rob, for the first ever one. And I will get you back on, and we'll talk when I think all this is blown over, a bit more technical, a bit more cheery. We can put loads more videos and stuff in, but I feel we just need to make people smile, to be honest. I want to bring smile to the cheerleading community with a little bit of knowledge.
Well, I hope this stuff was usable. So yeah.
And me. I hope when I press stop, it records it and saves it.
That's still a bit of a fear for me, mate. I'll be honest.
I am panicking. It did work before when I taught a class to Legacy Elite from the Netherlands, Amsterdam, Netherlands, that way. And they worked that day. I pressed record and I pressed stop and it recorded that. Good. So everyone, check out the Instagrams. Check out Rob on his Instagrams and all his socials. Follow his YouTube. I'll be back in the next couple of days with another guest with the podcast that's not even called anything yet. Just to get us through this apocalyptic time. Peace out, Rob. Peace.
Cause we know we fit like puzzle pieces, like puzzle pieces.